Hello. Today we will be starting the data lifecycle, beginning with content and moving to decisions, displaying three different ways: via a table, bar charts and its variants, and a tree map. Why are we even caring about this? Because time is our most limited resource. And as we are starting to explore federal data, we want to make decisions guided by data. There are just so many variables in these federal data sets, thousands. So extracting reliable content is the key. We rely on the federal codebooks and documentation, but these are hundreds of pages long, and at this early stage of deciding which dataset to choose, we don't want to devote months to reading and studying these in detail, so we ask AI for help. We generate an Excel table of the many categories. That is, I've asked AI for these categories. We limit the number of categories to make it manageable. I requested 10 to keep my sanity. But this table is wrong for so many reasons. I'm going to ask us to hit pause and locate as many as you can. Here are 5 moves, among others, to make this table work. First, organize the table by size. In this case, we're ranking it by count because size matters more than alphabet. 2, realign the ideas, renumber them that they make sense, here organized by size. And we also mutate the ID because it's not the most important variable. 3, do the math. Don't leave it to the reader to have to do it themselves. Make it intuitive. Now I can see that 36%, more than 1 out of every 3 variable, comes from the health insurance coverage for this data set. Add zebra stripes. That's the light shading on the alternate rows, and it helps us read across without making mistakes and transposition errors. And export as a PDF, not as a PNG or anything else, because it keeps it crisp and higher resolution. Once you have the content, quality, reliable, validated in the table, whether it's ugly but right, or pretty and correct, we now can beautify further. So that's what the rest of this video is about. So let's start with the horizontal bar chart with the table columns. I like it. Takes up a lot of space. Can we do better? What about a Pareto chart? Here we plot our 2 quantitative columns at once. On the first left y-axis, we have the count of the variables. On the far right, we have the percent to 100. The guardrail lines, the dashed ones, at almost 80% reinforce the message we already know, and that is that 80% of the variables come from just these 4 first categories. Now, this can also be readily made in Excel in a few different ways, and let me show you how. My workflow is that I first begin with AI, ingesting my actual data, and then I get some ideas, inspiration, and then I move to Excel. Why? Because I want to be inspired, but I also want to manage and customize. So whether I do it in Excel or R or Python, doesn't really matter. The point is that I do move into a different tool to allow myself to have more control of customization, like adding the variables at the bottom. Now, same data, now in a bar chart with labels. I think this is better, it's cleaner, there's less here. We get the exact same content, we get the key categories in a list in addition to 2 other data points, yeah? We also have the title, which is informative, and the subtitle. Here's another variant of a bar chart. It's formerly known as lollipops. So why this and not the other? Well, for one, it's economical on the ink. 2, there's a greater focus on the nonlinearity across the categories. Look at this. In the Medical Expenditure Panel survey, which these data are taken from, the health insurance coverage category carries 499 variables. In contrast to, let's say, patient experience, there's only 32 variables in that category. So it really helps us understand where the bulk of the variables belong. A third move, a tree map. Now why? When proportional contrast matters, this does the job. It's organized by real estate. So to recap, we are exploring federal databases, use the codebook and the documentation, and then swiftly move into extracting the content with the help of AI, and then start plotting and make the choice of a chart or a visual that actually helps you with your decision making. So if this resonated, like it. If you want to get updated on new content, subscribe. And if you have suggestions for new videos or feedback in general, please drop them in the comment field. Thank you for watching.